Snake.
Where are you?
Sorry, it's my ankle.
Can you walk?
I think so. Ah!
Are you okay?
Hurts a hell of a lot more without SOP.
Makes you feel alive, doesn't it? What about Occupy?
He fell into the ocean. Snake, I'll catch up soon. You go ahead.
They're gone.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Snake, can you hear me? GW is toward the ship's stern. Hurry!
Okay, here we're gonna go. It seems like a little bit of a weird cut because I got shot down and had to redo this whole entire area. Okay, we are now on Outer Haven, and we have to move from the bow of the ship from the stern of the ship to the bow of the ship in order to reach GW down in the core. Now, if we can disable GW before Liquid has a chance to destroy JD, the core AI.
On board. Welcome to Haven. Enemy units are already on their way. Break through their defense.
It'll prevent Liquid from gaining control of the entire Sons of the Patriot system. So that's going to be our big goal now. This is different from what we had seen in the previous Metal Gear games, because the majority of them were based on the idea of you got to stop some maniac before they launch a nuclear warhead or something like that. In this case, while they are trying to launch a nuke, it's not like they're trying to destroy a population. This is actually more sinister, because they're trying to gain control of the entire frickin' world. And having control of the Patriot system, even if we don't like the Patriots themselves having this control, is much worse if we allow Liquid to have it. Now this area is actually a little... I always found this to be fairly difficult because the frogs are going to be all over the frickin' place, and you can't shoot your way through this situation. You're going to get killed because it's not just the frogs that you have to worry about. There are multiple gecko on the ship as well. And you got to be careful because the door you have to go through is one that has a watertight door, and you have to go and open it by repeatedly pressing a button. So it takes maybe 5 to 10 seconds to open this door, and that's well, that's a little bit of a problem if you're being chased. I might as well spend some of my driven points on equipment here. Last chance when we really have to use it. Oh, there's a frog. Not the frog. Oh, those are frogs. Yes, but there's no. You hear the gecko. Now, the best bet is to stay quiet. Use silenced weapons. Move slowly. Use face camo. Just to try to avoid contact as much as possible. Just because you see an enemy does not mean you have to kill said enemy. Just because you see gecko does not mean you have to kill the gecko. Or it's already in caution. It doesn't take much to get put in alert status. That camouflage does not look like it's helping much. Oh geez, they're right in front of me. What kind of body armor I'm wearing? I'm surprised that the tranquilizer gun is working at all. Jeez, this is ridiculous. So many unconscious women everywhere. It's like a frat party. Yep, she's down. Pick up the P90s if you want. You get the Drebin points for them. But at this point, I don't really care. The watertight door is next to the gecko. You're gonna have to be careful while moving out into the open. Watch where they're going and then get in there when they're facing away. Boom. Remember that we're in a fight with the Missouri here, so there's going to be explosions happening all over the place. And you may see Gecko actually being destroyed during the battle by, I guess, some shell fire by the Missouri. And when the Gecko went down. Use this as an opportunity to get in there. Oh, there goes another one. Get in there. Go, go, go. Oh, there's another one out there. Ah, we're good. Remember, be patient. And we've made it. Once you get through the door, you're okay. Now, even if you get discovered, as long as the door is open, you'll be okay, because the gecko cannot follow you in here. And elevator time.
The corridor leading to GW is defended by directed energy weapons that emit certain types of microwaves.
Did you say microwaves?
If that frequency, the waves will start to evaporate faster than person.
Sounds like the perfect job for me.
For a majority of the game, we've been seeing this reoccurring theme where characters are questioning Snake's ability to do his job. Now that's nothing new. People have always sort of questioned how well he can do his job. But it's gotten a little different now, obviously, because he's older and he's not as physically capable as he used to be. But we have a... as it got along, the story moved further and further. We eventually reached the point where the U.S. Army was taken out, and Merrill was unable to do anything to stop Liquid, and Raiden was put out of commission, and it seemed like Snake was the only hope. Snake went to Shadow Moses, and, well, let's just face it, he failed. Liquid still got a hold of Rex's cannon, and Snake barely got out of that alive. So maybe there's something there about Snake not being what he used to be. And now things have basically gotten back to the point where people are saying, Snake, you shouldn't be doing this, you should sit this one out. And this was Otacon saying this. Up until now, Otacon's been the few people that never questioned Snake. Oh, it's Meryl. How'd she get in here? Ah, figures. We got some frogs to kill.
Meryl's in danger. Take out the enemy before.
Now, at this point, we're going to be doing the basic run-and-gun kind of battling stuff that we do through a lot of the game. Although things are a little bit different now, because early on in the game, remember the first two stages, the first two acts of the game, basically had this idea where you were in a battlefield, but you weren't really, you had the option of participating in it. You could use the battlefield as sort of cover to move from point to point. And you could interfere if you want, for either side only. Fighting against the PMCs is the only one that made any sense. But you think about it, this is the third act in a row where that battle hasn't been going on. So really this thing that was so indicative of what Metal Gear Solid 4 was meant to be takes place in less than half of the game. But the first, geez, what is it? The first 40% of the game or so is really only that whole battlefield thing going on. And everything else is sort of more like what we're doing now. Here we are, we've gotten back to another position though, where this is our last-ditch effort to stop Liquid. And Meryl seems to have gotten back in her belief that she's the one that should be taking control. And even Otacon is saying that Snake should be retiring. Snake should be sitting it out. He's not going to do any good. He's just going to get himself killed. So here we've gotten back into a position where Meryl is unconscious. Johnny or Akiba, we don't know where the hell he is. He fell into the ocean. So now it's just Snake again. And what can Snake do to save the world? And you think people would know by now. Just know better. This is the way it is. Yeah, this is not a very efficient use of ammunition. Every once in a while you just have to do crazy machine gun. Some of these guys are going to be kind of far away, so if you're going to use something with a scope, then go ahead. It is a big enough arena for it to make sense. Although I honestly should have used something with more stopping power than the M4. Maybe even better accuracy. The SVD would have been fine here. Even a headshot won't take a frog down when using the M4. At least one won't. Strangely enough, a headshot with the tranquilizer gun will. But whatever. Okay, that should be it. That's it, right? Oh, jeez, where do they keep coming from? How many people does Liquid have working for him?
Snake. Snake. Run!
I know your wavelength. It brings back memories.
It can't be.
Johnny!
Meryl!
Wait, Akiba!
It has been a long time, Snake.
You, Psycho Mantis.
No, that was another me. Can you hear the screams? They cry for battle! Let me hear you scream! Howl! Roar! From the very depths of your soul! What's this? I see.
Okay, it's time for a battle against the last of the B&Bs. This is Screaming Mantis. Now, Screaming Mantis, named after Psycho Mantis, and why this is continuing the kind of trend of referencing back the earlier games in the series. Obviously, Screaming Mantis is a reference to Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid. Also, one of the dolls that Mantis is holding is a doll of Psycho Mantis. There's also another doll of the Sorrow from Metal Gear Solid 3. And that is your key to defeating her. As it turns out, she is invincible at the moment. She's wearing a blast suit, the kind of thing that you'd use for bomb squads or something like that. So you can't actually do any harm to her specifically. But she is using these dolls to take control of people by manipulating the nanomachines in their body. Now, she's also capable of using the Sorrow doll to take control of dead bodies, because remember the dead bodies still have nanomachines inside them too. Okay, if you want to take Meryl out without doing too much damage or taking too long, CQC her and inject her with a syringe, because remember the syringe disables nanomachines. So, Screaming Mantis will not be able to do any harm to her or take control of her. You also can use the syringe on yourself if you find that she is doing a lot to take control of you, because it can be difficult to control a snake at times if you do not. Okay, what you have to do here is shoot the dolls. It's best to really focus on one, and then you can go and snatch up the other one. Oh, damn, what was that? It's like the game reset. It didn't really, though. Just a trick. This weapon is useless. Syringe. Okay, and you shoot the dolls out of her hand, while they're hanging from her extra arms there. Since you can't actually do any damage to her, what you gotta do is just rid her of her dolls. The Sorrow doll is almost defeated. You also have to prevent her from using Meryl to kill herself, just like Psycho Mantis back in Metal Gear Solid. Oh, that must have hurt. Oh yeah, stay away from her as well.
Mantis is dropping her puppet. Without it,
Grab the
she can't
puppet.
control her victims.
Can we get the Sorrow doll?
Go grab that puppet.
Sorrow doll allows you to take control of dead bodies, pick them up and toss them around, sort of like the way she does. Only you cannot command them to go and kill people. Okay, now she only has one doll, so focus your firepower on that one. And inject Meryl again. Knocks her unconscious. this is yet another example of these technologically advanced enemies that are all over the place in this game. Not only the frogs, but also the B&B units. You could say Vamp is an example of one. The Gecko, all those kinds of things. These things are obviously intended to be like the next generation of soldiers, the more powerful ones. And Snake is sort of the old, out-of-date kind of guy that is really struggling to maintain his place in the world. But even then, Snake is really like, no matter what you put up against Snake, he always seems to come out on top in the end. There's no real reason why Snake should have been able to beat all of the other B&B units, because they've all had these superior weapons and all these things that should have made them more powerful. But for some reason, it never seems to work out. Okay, she dropped the Mantis doll, so we pick that up. Now, remember, we still can't harm Mantis with weapons. See, this bullet just bounce off of her. So what you gotta do is pull out the Mantis doll. Remember, the Mantis doll controls living things. And that's what Screaming Mantis is. So you hit her with it, which can be a little bit difficult because it fires slowly. And she is going to be really aggressive during this entire time, moving forward and trying to get you with her knives. You gotta hit her. And once you get in control, shake the bejesus out of the controls while holding the L1 key. And it kills her. There is no way of non-lethally taking her down.
Get out of my body. Forgive me. Set me free!
Here we go again. You're gonna have to kill her again. You can use tranquilizer darts, of course, but it doesn't really make a difference. Now, something I didn't mention earlier is when you take any of the B&B units down in their beast form using your tranquilizer weapons, non-lethally take them down. You have the option of running over at some point during this period of the fight and picking up the doll based on them. And you can get all four and you get some special stuff, whatever. Hey, and I got a trophy. I hate trophies. Now with Screaming Mantis, since there is no way of actually defeating her non-lethally, no matter what happens, you can always get the doll. And I'm trying to use the Mantis doll against her, but it doesn't work. She just dodges it every time, and even if you hit her, it doesn't do any damage. So just do whatever you want to take her out. Railgun. A little bit of overkill, don't you think?
No more massages for you then.
Had I been using a DualShock 3, he would have made the controller rumble and said, "Rumble is back."
The spirit of the warrior will always be with you.
I think it was cool that they brought Psycho Mantis back for that little bit, even if he didn't really do anything.
So, you bested the last beast. That doll you just picked up lets you manipulate anybody who's got nanomachines in them. Sounds like something the devil's cooked up, if you ask me. Mantis came from South America. She was born and raised in a country racked by never-ending civil wars. Her village was attacked by enemy forces and burned to the ground. This was when she was still a little girl. Hunted by enemy death squads, she was separated from her family. She barely managed to escape with her life. Ended up in the basement of this one building. It was full of corpses that had been dumped there. Almost all of them had been tortured to death. She was petrified with fear. And then, she heard the sound of heavy boots on the floor above her, followed by shrieking screams. The kind that would make every hair on your body stand straight up. She had stumbled across a makeshift torture chamber. Somebody'd locked the door, and she was trapped. It was dark, it was dank, and it was full of a wretched stench. She couldn't sleep with the screams of torture victims all around her. All she could do was sit curled up in one corner of the room, trembling. A week passed, then 10 days. She managed to keep hydrated by drinking the filthy water pooled up on the floor, but there was no food. Being trapped in that kind of place, half crazy from hunger, did a serious number on her mind. Did you know female mantises eat their mates? The screams went on day and night. She covered her ears, but it didn't help. And then, she was saved by a little black mantis that taught her how to block out the screams, how to plug up her inner ears.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm saying, Snake, that when she couldn't stand the hunger any longer, she started feeding on the corpses. But only the male ones. She didn't realize who was doing it. In her mind, it was a female mantis devouring her mates. It was like one big twisted waking dream. There was no mantis, of course. It was all a hallucination. Nothing more than some story spun by another person she'd created inside. Her unstable mind was what made her so vulnerable. Later, they ripped out what was left of her psyche with drugs and hypnosis, and implanted the persona of Psycho Mantis. It wasn't her will that controlled the B&Bs. It was Psycho Mantis, half assimilated into her soul, pulling the strings. Screaming Mantis was just another puppet. Anyway, she survived several weeks down in that hellhole and finally got back to the surface. But the screams in her head didn't subside. They would always be with her. Only this time, they weren't real. The inner earplugs didn't work anymore. The black mantis had disappeared. There was no place left to escape. Which is why she was always screaming, to drown out the ones in her own head. But it's over now. You freed Mantis from that dark nightmare.
The last of them beasts.
You got it, pal. Well, I'm done playing storyteller for a while. Now get going. GW's waiting. And this